You are being invited for a group wedding of 10 male couples. Please RSVP ASAP. Hello, my name is Alex, but I'm also known as Chibi Yuto, and welcome to another video review of Clamp's Doujinshis. In this video, I'll be doing the review of Doujinshi number 21. It is Shoten 6, the final volume of Shoten. Not only this is the final volume of Shoten, but this is also the last original doujinshi by Clamp. The next one, the final doujinshi, is going to be a doujinshi about Devilman, which is a popular work. It wasn't an original doujinshi by Clamp, so this is their double goodbye. It was the last time they did an original doujinshi and the last volume of Shoten. Shoten was a very important work for Clamp during their doujinshi days. It was in Shoten that they introduced for the first time several characters and original characters that would later appear in Clamp works. They also introduced the Clamp campus, which is a setting for a lot of important works for Clamp, such as Niju Mensoni Onegai, Gakuen Toke Duklion, Clamp Gakuen Tanteidan, and of course X. For this final volume, Clamp were kind enough to give all the couples happy endings by making them all get married. So you're about to experience a group wedding where all the couples get married, which is very unusual for Clamp. This marks the last contribution by Seina now. If you remember correctly, on the last video I mentioned the fact that she had left the group, so they were 6 members by the time the previous doujinshi was released. However, she still collaborated with one final story for her couple, and you will be able to see that in this volume. For this final volume, you will notice during the review that Clamp gave not only a deluxe packaging treatment, but they also provided interesting goods for the readers that have been following Shoten thus far. This was released in August of 1990, only 1 month after the previous doujinshi. And by the time this was released, the Tokyo Babylon manga series was either about to be released or already released, given that the first chapter came out in South magazine in the Japanese summer of 1990. So without further ado, let's check the review. So the book comes inside this paper case, paper box. The material is thinner than a cardboard, but thicker than a regular paper. It's a very thin material. So this is the front side of the box or case. This is the back side. Here we see something like planning and execution by Clamp. These are the edges, top, bottom, left and right. This paper case is supposed to resemble a wedding invitation, a traditional wedding invitation in Japan. They usually come in paper envelopes, and they are wrapped in nice detailed ribbons such as this, and it's usually very, very sophisticated, and they are trying to convey the same feeling here. We have the title here at the bottom, Shoten 6, and you can open it from the top like this, and inside you have the book and the extras, the goodies that I'm going to show to you. So this is what we have. So here there is the book. I'm going to show you in a second. And here are 2 extras. So the first one, this one, it's a wedding invitation actually. So they are inviting for a group wedding with all the 10 couples. I think there are 10. Here is a message from Clamp, and kind of like inviting the readers or inviting everyone for it's both a message for the final Shoten volume and also an invitation for this group reading. Here we have the list, the names of all the couples, and it's interesting because although they're all male couples, they still separate them as groom and bride. So it's not groom and groom, which is interesting. Here you have Seishirou and Subaru. They are not listed as a couple getting married. I'm not sure. I think they are listed as best man. I could be completely mistaken, but the kanji here reads different from the rest, which reads groom and bride. So if anyone knows, please let me know. But they are definitely separated from the rest. Here you have the date and hour. So the wedding would happen on 1990, on August 18 of 1990, which is exactly the date in which this Doujinshi came out. So it's the same release date. Here you have a nice golden hot stamped symbol. I don't know really what it means, but it's a very interesting. The edge is golden. It's painted with a gold paint. Looks really fancy. I think it's a very nice touch. And here you have a postcard collection featuring all the couples. So first we have Subaru and Seishirou, and here this is just the cover. They are not a postcard. Yeah, the first one is not a postcard. So here you have photo Clamp wedding place, 1990, August 18. And here we have the postcards. So every couple got a postcard. So and at the back of the postcard, they always mention which one is the groom and which one is the bride. So here we have another one. These ones are by Nikoi, and you have the description of the grooms and the brides. There is a mistake here on bridegroom in English. This one by Seina Nao. And again, this is by Satsuki. This is the Satsuki Garashi's couple. This is the Mokona, the couples drawn by Mokona in Mokona Stories. Here are Lisa Says. Yeah, and this is the final one. So you can detach the postcards and use them. I think, this is the back side of the booklet. Shoten 6 final, the release date. The dogs in my neighborhood are really having a good time. And now on to the book itself. You have the main cover here. This is the couple that are featured in Lisa Say stories. You have the title here. This is the back cover. You have all the other couples celebrating the wedding. So here it's really a mixture of artists. You have characters by Mokona, by Nikoi, by Lisa Say. So it's really a Clamp illustration. As usual with Shoten, you can open the cover like this and it becomes a full illustration. Looks really nice. Here at the bottom you have planning and presented by Clamp. You have several mascots. You have Seishirou and Subaru here at the bottom. Seishirou is with the champagne bottle. This is the spine, book spine, summer final. It's a very thick book, so as you can see, this is the first page. The texture here is really interesting, as you can, I think you can see it. You have the index with several stories. Most members only contributed with one story. I think Nekoi contributed with 1, 2, 3, and Lisa Say contributed with 2. But all the other members have one story each. So we start with Mokona Apapa. So we have a nice color page of her main couple here. They both appear briefly in Niju Mensoni Onegai. I think I've mentioned before in my previous videos. And this is the story that concludes their arc. We have Nokoru Imonoyama. He looks older than his Clamp Gakuen Tanteidan version. So most of the stories here are about their weddings. So sometimes we don't see the wedding itself, but the planning of the wedding, or something that happened after the wedding or before, or the proposal. It's not as literal as seeing the wedding itself, but it is clear that all the couples got themselves a happy ending. This looks very beautiful, this whole story. Even though this was drawn in the early days of Clamp, this looks already so beautiful, and so you can there's almost no awkward or strange continuity mistakes or flow. It looks really good. So we're still in Mokona's story. This book, as you've seen, the stories are longer, so because the book is really thick, and it ends here. This is a very nice kind of spread. Now we have the first story by Mick Nikoi, again with the color page. This one is shorter, and it ends here. This one is by Seina Nao. This was her last contribution for Clamp. If you remember in my previous video, I mentioned the fact that she had left by the previous release, but they still wanted her to appear in Shoten 6 in order to conclude her story. So this was her final contribution that she did especially for Shoten 6. I think you remember the long dark-haired man with his lover. And I think this is him trying the dress, the bride dress. This is one of the few stories that we actually see the characters dressed as, in wedding dresses. But you see there's no wedding, it's just him trying the dress. This is the second story by Mick Nikoi, Maze of Moon. Again, a color page. I think you remember the guy that looks a lot like Kake and Hisui. I hope I'm not turning the pages too fast, but I'm guessing you can pause the video to check them with more time. Just that it's a very thick book, so I have to go fast. This one is by Satsuki Garashi. Opens with a color page, and I'm pretty sure that the illustrations were not drawn by Satsuki herself. They look very much like Tamayo Akiyama. I could be wrong because again they shared style, so they kind of look the same. They could influence each other, but this looks very much like Tamayo Akiyama's. The nose, the hair, the eye. So I wouldn't be 100% positive that these were drawn by Satsuki Garashi. So it's a novel as usual for Satsuki, with a few cut illustrations, and it ends here. Now we have the first story by Lisa Sei. It's called Once Upon a Time. Opens with a color page as well. We have a nice memory under some cherry blossom tree in Clamp Gakuen. Here we have the main character, one of the main characters in combination, as I hope you will remember. And it ends here. I really like the mood of Lisa Sei's stories. So now we have the third and final story by Mik Nikoi, her last couple. The style is very different from Mokona's because you have lots of frames. Instead, Mokona makes, sometimes she blends over her art, and you can really tell when a frame begins and another ends. Oh, and it ends here. Now we have one by Tamayo Akiyama with a nice spread. She was the only one with a color spread, I think. Just notice how the style looks a lot like the one from Satsuki Garashi's. The nose, the hair, the eyes, which is why I'm not sure that Satsuki drew those herself. Still Tamayo Akiyama. And it ends. No, it doesn't end yet. It ends here. Then we have a very nice section where they list all the 20 characters from this from that they are getting married, and then you have over here you have questions 1 to 21 there that says height, weight, birthday, birthplace, favorite color, favorite flower, favorite book, favorite song, favorite TV, favorite food, and etc. And then you have every character, the answer for every character. Subaru and Seishirou are not listed here because I don't know why, but again, they are not considered groom and bride in this volume. Then we have the second and final story by Lisa Say. Oh, this one is also a double color page. It's a completely different mood than the other couple. This one is much lighter. She had a really nice art style. And it ends here. And then, closing the book, the grand finale, we have a story by Nanase Okawa, Tokyo Babylon. It opens up with this nice teaser that just says Tokyo. And here we have, another color spread. And this was definitely drawn by Mokona, not by Nanase Okawa. It's called Tokyo Babylon, save for Tokyo. Really nice color spread. Here we have the usual blurb from about Mesopotamia that we usually see in Tokyo Babylon books. I really like the design here. Okawa did a very good job. It is another novel as usual with some illustrations, probably drawn by Mokona. And although I'm not sure if they actually got married, there is in fact an engagement ring here, so I think Seishirou proposed to Subaru in this story. And Tokyo Babylon was already running in by the time this was published. It was actually either the first chapter was already out or was about to be out. They knew that it would be serialized by the time this was released. It was either already out there, the first chapter, or it was about to be, because Tokyo Babylon came out, the first chapter came out in summer of 1990, and this came out in August of 1990. When I say summer, of course, it's summer in Japan, the North Hemisphere. And this ends the story. Over here we have again the advertisement that we've seen in the last release as well. They were advertising for Clamp Artwork Orchestra. By the time this was announced, they were not sure of the name, the event name, I guess. It was supposed to happen in November of that year. Here I think they were advertising for the newspaper subscription system that they had at the time. Clamp were already working as professional manga artists, so they started delivering this newspaper method. It was a way of sharing the news of what was happening in their activities, their releases. Let's put it this way, that this was before the internet, so they had to have a way to communicate with the readers their upcoming releases. And back then it was via a newspaper that people could subscribe to and receive regularly. Then there's a final message from Clamp about Shoten. I couldn't really understand, but the message here is that they were kind of saying that this was not a final stop. It was kind of just an in-between stop. It was not a final destination stop. It was just a stopover towards something bigger. It's a final destination that was still to come. I think it was a way of saying, even though Shoten 6 was the final volume and Shoten ended, it was not the end of Clamp. They wanted readers to know that they were aiming higher, and they wanted to take them to new destinations, and they were inviting everyone to join them. I think that was from what I could get from my very lousy Japanese. Here at the end, there's a sentence that says, "Go to happiness with all readers." It's a pretty nice message. Then the very last page, you have the technical information, release date, Shoten 6, the happy wedding, and happy end. And that's it. It's definitely a milestone in Clamp's not only doujinshi but manga artist's career. I hope you've enjoyed the review. Thank you so much for watching this and any of my previous videos. We're almost there. I can almost see the finish line. There's only one doujinshi left to cover all the 22 doujinshis released by Clamp. I hope you'll be there to check out with me. In the meantime, I have a website about Clamp. The address is chibiuto.com. I would love if you can pay me a visit there. Until next time, bye.